family. There's only a few like stragglers that will come here and there probably just to be a little nosy. The ages range from newborn to 90 years old. They go from the day that they're born until they die. The Westboro Baptist Church, well, they engage in daily, like, peaceful sidewalk demonstrations. That's one of their so-called peaceful sidewalk demonstrations. They do this daily just to spread awareness of what they believe. And then they meet every weekend at 11:30 a.m. I actually emailed them about it because I was wondering, it didn't really say, it said to email. So that's what they do. They meet every weekend, and unless they're picketing, and then you have to email every week in order to make sure you can come to church that week, because they have random times when they don't go to the church. They do other things. Some picketed events by the Westboro Baptist Church that you probably heard about, the Sandy Hook School. That's a picture of them at the school. It said, "Pray for more dead kids." Military funerals, shooting victims' funerals, obviously gay pride parade, concerts like Lady Gaga, One Direction, a lot of other ones. And then they were at like 9/11 pretty much picketing, saying that they deserve to die. Here's a short little video.
The small town of Girard, Kansas prepares to say goodbye to a fallen soldier.
Corporal Bennett's a hero.
A helicopter crash in Iraq took the life of Corporal Richard Bennett, just 25 years old. As family and friends gather to grieve, a small group gathers to protest his funeral.
They should have left his carcass right on the ground.
The words and the signs are meant to shock. This radical group claims soldiers die because God is punishing America for tolerating homosexuality. But the family of Corporal Bennett won't see or hear them, because the Patriot Guard has arrived. Bikers by the hundreds, many of them veterans, converge on military funerals as invited guests.
Because my faith says we can't operate in a vacuum, that faith has to take action.
As a veteran and a pastor, United Methodist Ken Van attends these funerals as often as he can.
We're all going to line up there.
With their bikes and their bodies, they form a shield between protesters and grieving families. Their engines and patriotic music drown out the chanting.
No family should have to face this type of hatred on the day that they're putting their loved one to rest.
Van says even if protesters stop showing up, he and fellow Patriot Guard members will continue to come to stand together as a show of support.
Not only from a patriotic standpoint, but also for the people to know that those in the church care about them, love them, and
So I thought that video was pretty significant because this group, so all of their picketed events they do put on their website, that way it can't be like brought up in court later against them. So this group goes all around the world, pretty much, I mean, non-profit, nothing like that. They just go around the world and try to like stop the families from having to hear them picket the funerals. Some acts that were made against the church. In response to Phelps's protest at military funerals, May 2001, President George Bush signed the Respect for America's Fallen Heroes Act. That prohibits protests within 300 feet of any entrance of a funeral that has like a military funeral happening or going on 60 minutes before or 60 minutes after the funeral. Penalties are up to $100,000 of fines and 1 year in prison. 2007, Kansas Governor Kathleen signed into law a bill establishing a 150-foot no picketing zone around funerals, and as of April 2006, 8 other states enacted similar laws and 10 more were considering it. And then August 6, 2012, President Obama signed the Pub L 112-154. That is honoring Americans veteran and caring for Camp Legion families of 2012. It requires a 300-foot and 2-hour buffer zone around all military funerals. Funding and costs. So on average, the Westboro Baptist Church spends $200,000 a year protesting and picketing, and this is like taking shortcuts, no plane rides, nothing like that. They drive in vans, like taking the cheapest way around things so they can do the most that they can. How the church makes money. they sue those who violate their rights. They're all very smart. Most of them are lawyers. And so they use that law firm that Fred Phelps had founded, and they almost always win. Some members of the group got second jobs, which all money goes to the church, but they do not accept any donations from anybody. They don't want anyone's help but their own. I didn't add it in the slide, but there was like a case where this guy and his family tried suing the Westboro Baptist Church for like hatred at his son's funeral. His son was in the military and they picketed it. And the guy who was trying to sue them ended up having to pay for all the lawyer fees for him and the Westboro Baptist Church. It was over $100,000. So after losing his son, he also had to pay for that because they won the case and they pretty much made their way around it. This is their website. It's GodHateFakes.com. It used to be God Hates America, but that was taken down. These numbers are like on their site. They're obviously like, I mean, they're not, you know, there's not good research behind them, but so you can take a look at it. But the one that really got me was 0 nanoseconds of sleep that the Westboro Baptist Church members lose over your opinions and feelings. That's like right on their website, so I thought that was kind of crazy and immature. But they have visited 990 cities, and they have picketed 57,337 events, which is crazy. And then this is just a short clip. This is one of the kids of Fred Phelps who left the family.
Back at 7:42 this morning, we have a rare look inside what may be the nation's most controversial church. NBC's Andrea Canning spoke with a woman who grew up as a member of the Westboro Baptist Church before escaping for a new life. Andrea, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah. Very interesting story. Libby Phelps Alvarez is offering insight like we've never seen before into the Midwestern church, known for its hatred of Jews and gays and its infamous protests of military funerals. They say they're following God's will. She says for 25 years, her every move was scrutinized by the tight-knit church run by her family until one event changed everything.
You guys are filthy perverts over here! It's the church best known for its perceived hatred, with hurtful protests at events many consider to be sacred.
They think that they're the only ones that are going to go to heaven. And if you don't go to that church, you're going to go to hell.
Libby Phelps Alvarez was born into the Westboro Baptist Church. Her grandfather founded the Topeka, Kansas church that some believe is more cult than congregation.
Do you feel like you were brainwashed looking back?
I almost think I was brainwashed into thinking that I wasn't brainwashed.
The members say they are true believers in God, but their messages target gays and Jews, even children. The church posted this tweet last year. Westboro will picket Sandy Hook Elementary School to sing praise to God for the glory of his work in executing his judgment. From the time she turned 8, Alvarez would protest funerals around the country. In 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the protests are protected by the Constitution.
Why protest military funerals?
They think that they're fighting for a nation that supports homosexuality.
At what point did you finally start to think, this is wrong? What I believe in, what I've been doing?
I had a friend, and her husband was in the military, and he died, and we picketed his funeral. I wasn't there, but my family went there, and I didn't think that it was right. There was a point when we started praying for people to die, and I didn't actually do that, but I was around when they did it.
4 years ago, she says she packed up her life and quickly left while her parents were at a protest.
I was terrified. I was never going to see my family again.
That must have been the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. How did you break the news to your parents and the church?
I didn't.
Have they tried to reach out to you in any way?
My aunt emailed me and said that nobody wants to talk to me anymore.
Alvarez still has regrets for hurting people, but is embracing her new life with open arms.
I've done so many things that I couldn't do. I've traveled to different countries. I got married.
You got your first haircut ever?
Yes. And I got my ears pierced, and I didn't think I would ever do that.
Do you hope that other family members have the courage to leave? What would you say to them?
I would tell them that I love them, and that and that people aren't evil like we were taught. Even though I'm crying right now, life isn't full of sadness and sorrow and disease and heartache, like they told us. You can lead a happy and good life.
A life, she says, for the first time has brought her peace and independence.
Libby lives just 35 miles from the church, but says she still hasn't spoken to her parents for all these years. She's now sampling different churches in her new world, but hasn't settled on one yet. We reached out to Westboro Baptist Church for a comment, and they did not respond to our request. And she says that this church believes they are saving people with their views.
Well, it's a perspective we don't often get to hear. Andrea Kenny, thanks for the story. Appreciate it.
That's it.
Okay. Any questions? Why am I not surprised?